Hey there, beautiful souls. I am here. I am going to turn the camera at some point today. I've got a new kind of setup here because there's so many things I want to share and talk about today. And I knew that if I did this as a pre-recorded video, it would never end. Silence that one. So I have been wanting to share this book with you for a while, as well as try to integrate some of the things I've been doing with all of Kim's different tools, the cards, the journal, this book, as well as my own particular self-study. And so we're going to look at all of those things today. So I want to say hi and welcome to the Moon Chariot. I got your DM, by the way, so I will look at that in a little bit. And Jen, welcome to Jen and Kyle Liz. So let's just start. How many of you have this book? Have any of you actually seen it or read it? Or it's a really interesting. If you like Kim's work, you would love this book. And I'm just going to dive right into it. So this is a creation that she did in an ashram during a 40-day sadhana. So during her 40-day sadhana, she committed to, the subtitle is Drawing a Life Back Together. She committed to drawing every single day as part of her healing journey. And so this is what this book is. And apparently there is a part 2 that is coming up as a result of something that happened with, I believe, one of the pages being compromised in the publishing process, something like that. Kim talks to it in one of the interviews that she did on the book. And you'll see that there is a date on every single page. So it is a journal. It's a personal journal of her journey through, well, all of these things. So let's just kind of look at, so this is a page about bad. All the things you crossed out, I should not eat. Carbs, caffeine, animal products, fruit, sugary, hard to digest. And it's just this incredible personal look. Look at all these cheeses that she's listed here into her mind. Now, this part of this journey is with her relationship with food, as well as her, sorry, I'm not going to name the eating disorder because I'm not sure what it is, but this is part of the journey, is with her relationship with food, the process through her divorce, among many other things. And I just love the way that she shares this journal. And I find this journal, and I believe this journal called Bones and Blossoms would be extremely inspiring to anyone who couldn't tap into the artist within them, and know that this is an option for anyone and everyone. And whether we completely illustrate a page or we fill up a page with thoughts and words, I was just thoroughly moved in reading this. And I took my time. Some pages I spent a great deal of time on and read over and over. Why don't we have a look at this poem? It's really beautiful. Great Spirit, my name is Kim. I am one of your many children. In me you have placed the light of 1,000 suns, a flame to shine upon the sacred and the mundane, the intricate details and the vast horizon. Guide me today and all days as I orbit your ancient flower tower crossed out. And one of the things I love is that all of the edits and the changes in this journal they're all there. And here she is at the bottom of the well. Hello, Tamsin. Thanks for joining me. And long hair, skinny-eyed toe, Scarlet. You have been paralyzed by grief. Well, this might be just the chat that you need for today. I pray that it will help you. This book is available on Amazon. And in the description box below, I have put an affiliate. affiliate link. And so we're also going to look at the Wild Unknown Journal, and I'm going to talk about some of the process, my process with the cards as well too. So let's look at this page. This is April 18th, 8 a.m. I saw a picture of myself yesterday, and it was not even me. I was buried, swollen, thick, dense, lost, puffy, smiling, with cheeks not my own, eyes tiny, slits in the abyss. If you were so radiant that day, said the woman who showed me the picture. Just glowing, she said. Look at you. She's lying. She's trying to trick me. She knows. She's talking about me. She's saying, Kim sure has changed since the divorce. Poor girl. Look at her. Glowing, she said. Radiant. Note to self. A telltale sign you're on a slippery slope. Unwarranted suspicion of strangers, friends, and kindness. It's just a profound, honest journey through her recovery from divorce, which was numbed with food and bad choices in food. And when I look at images of Kim on social media, she's beautiful. She's thin. She is glowing. She's a yogi. She's a successful business person. And then everything shifted and life became very, very challenging. And this journal called Blossoms and Bones is just truly, truly inspirational. So if anybody is struggling and needing inspiration on how to journal to heal through journaling, this book is truly something. April 28th, 2019, I woke up thinking about mercy. But what is mercy really? What does it look like when it happens? Is it a moment in time or a gesture, an act, a word that bends downwards so small and then becomes immense? I fall asleep thinking about kissing someone. I take this as a sign of healing, as my thoughts finally involve another person beyond myself. So, and it's just it's got this beautiful rainbow bookmark. And so, yeah, so one of the reasons I really wanted to show you many, many of these pages is because this is the work that I do with a lot of people, and that is allowing them to dive deep into their shadow. And I kind of want to talk about what shadow means and what your interpretation of shadow is. I'm just looking at some of your comments. Yeah, Jen, I think you hit that spot on. The turmoil, like for me, divorce was, of course, it was horrific experience and it was painful and, emotionally and physically exhausting and shocking and all of that. But what came out the other side was a brand new me. And I think when we are in the depths of despair, it can be just so, so overwhelming. So to share in somebody's journal in such a creative way is really, really beautiful. Kyle says, not what I would have expected at all. I think it could open a crack where the light gets in. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful comment. Thank you for that, Kyle. So this is why I wanted to share this with you. And I saw this book featured, not this book, we didn't actually see the book, but Kim was doing an interview with Guru Jagat. And I believe I linked it on one of my previous Kim Krans videos, but if you follow Guru Jagat, you can find the interview with Kim and her, and it's a really wonderful, wonderful interview. So this is Blossoms and Bones, and look at this page. So it's a page of gratitude and a lot of writing over and over and over the same words. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so she talks about in this book that initially her intention was for a 30-day sadhana at the center, and she ended up staying for 40 days. And somewhere in this book, she talks about the power of 40 and the power of 40 days. Oh, this is a good page. So we have the backstory. Like she's done this like almost like a board game. Start, karma, or whatever. Mysterious. What I thought would happen, what actually happened. Right? What a clever way to draw your way into clarity and to understanding. So, yeah, so that's Blossoms and Bones. Such a pretty cover. It's a beautiful book. Yeah. And I think even just reading this as, I don't know, I could just see so many ways that this would help different people, whether simply as an inspiration to journal for yourself or actually being inspired by her story and her openness and bravery and so forth. The cards. I do have all of her decks and I do work with all of them. And I want to kind of bring onto the table what happened as I was trying to figure out what in the world I was going to do with this video and how I was going to start and where I was going to go. And I need to set this up exactly as it showed up this morning. So I wanted to do a spread with all of her decks because many of you have asked for this. And so I pulled out all 3 decks this morning and decided that I was going to put the animal below and the archetype in the center and 3 tarot cards around it. And then I wondered, if there needed to be a meaning for the position, or it could just stand on its own and I could begin to, interpret it. And what came up was the archetype of the mother. And this is really quite something. So right now is the 9 days of Navaratri, which is the, there's Navaratri a couple of times during the year, but this is a time during this particular waning moon where we spend 9 nights in devotion to the goddess. And the first 3 nights are with Durga, or Kali as Durga. And the second 3 nights to Lakshmi, and then the third 3 to Saraswati. And I chant mantra. There's a lot of light involved, different devotional practices, and mostly just a tremendous focus over this 9 days in my relationship with the goddess. And on my altar, I have placed, I don't have a lot of goddess decks. I've got Susan Sidon Boulet's deck out. I have Earth Warrior on my altar right now. And today I really wanted to sit down and pull some cards. And when I shuffled the archetype deck, what came out was the mother. And I was really quite blown away. And I'm going to circle around back to that. But this ties in everything that I am working on and have been working on. I see that Tamsin commented on shadow, and I want to go back to that before I actually look at what came up for me in the cards. Tamsin says, I think for shadow, it's a part of myself that is hidden when I feel lost in who I am and what my purpose is, or longing to feel connected. It's a beautiful, beautiful description. And as I was on my walk with Amber, just before I sat down here, I stopped and I stood in the middle of the woods and I circled around and I chanted 3 rounds of 32 names of Durga and just asked Shakti, the goddess, for inspiration and help and support and insight. And, shadow is, because I knew today we were going to talk about shadow, because the nature of blossoms and bones, and I want to bring in some of the things I've been working with too. The nature of shadow, there's many different paradigms, there's many different lenses through which to view what exactly shadow is. And in yogic terms, we have something called samskaras, and samskaras are neither good nor bad. These are just patterns that we have chosen to work on in this particular lifetime. And hello, Celine, welcome. And the samskaras have gold as well as trauma. And there's always many, many layers to the experience. And when the mother archetype came up for me in Navaratri, this was so very, very auspicious. The depth and the profound gratitude I feel for drawing this card today is impossible to put into words. And one of the things that I have said to myself in gratitude is that one of the things, if anything, that I got right, or that I got, I've done well with in this lifetime, is motherhood. And to honor mother, and to have come through life as with all of the trauma, all of the self-study of being an adopted child and being embraced back into the family of birth, and meeting with my birth siblings that were from the same mother. And it's been a roller coaster, and there has been pain, and there has been beauty, and how I have embraced motherhood and raised 4 children, and my relationship with my mother that I grew up with yesterday. I'm going to turn and talk to you because I'm here. I'm going to finish this story. Maybe you want to see my face. Hello. My relationship with my mother that I grew up with is really something. Like she died 8 years ago. Yesterday was her birthday. And so much emotion arose for me. I posted a video from her 78th birthday, and yesterday would have been her 88th birthday. And as I watched the video, just all this emotion started to arise, and the tears and the feelings, and some of the things because I posted this on my personal Facebook, and some of her friends commented, and it just tipped me over the edge. And I spent the good part of the day remembering her and crying. And I watched the second part of Mamma Mia, and the only thing I could think of was, wow, she would have loved this movie. She loved Cher. She loved the Mamma Mia movie. She went to the stage musicals multiple times. She loved the songs. She loved ABBA. And I just wanted her here, and I missed her so much. And what happened to me yesterday, the fact that this is Navaratri, the celebration of Shakti, of Devi, of the goddess, and that it was her birthday, and that all of this is coming up for me is just, wow. And so this is the kind of thing that just makes me feel so grateful to be in this place, so grateful for doing this work. And so for all of you that are struggling with whatever the archetype is you are struggling with, whatever the shadow is you are struggling with or the samskara, or whatever you want to call it, is to be brave and to walk through it, and to walk through it bravely. And if you need someone to hold your hand, or if you need reference for a good book, or if you ask for it and reach out and let people know that it's hard. Let people know that you are struggling. And each step along the way, take time and never forget about the self-care. And because we can make our way through the other side and just come out, it can be so, so very, very beautiful. And so for this card to appear today, I was just blown away. And so I knew that today what I wanted to share and to talk about. I'm going to go back down here. This is my view, by the way. That's my neighbor's house. This is my little tiny garden out front. What I wanted to share was partially my own journey and how I've been working with all of this. So there's a few other. Scarlett ordered the book. Okay. Oh, okay. Hello, Celine. You had a dragonfly today. Wonderful. Okay. There's a few other books on my table that I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to circle around. And I'm sorry if this is not all perfectly organized. I want to talk about the surrounding cards. Well, let's go to the cards, and then I'll bring in the other books. And I decided that the dragonfly, this is the card that I drew, the dragonfly, which is the 10th card in this particular suit. Such a beautiful card. And I see it is highly transformational. It also brings back memories for me of being on the lake in the summer and having dragonflies land on my toe. Different things. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful energy. I love that we've got the element of water here. It is very connected, of course, the element of water to the Divine Mother. It's where Devi lives. And in this particular deck, this is in the suit of air. And so there's a connection with the suit of air that can be brought in. And I haven't journaled about the reading yet. I wanted to allow this just to kind of flow. Above is the 7 of Wands. To the right is the Son of Pentacles. And the left is the Sun. And the whole reading just feels really wrapped. Like these cards feel like they are wrapping the mother, or the mother is emanating something out. And I love that we have this humble elk on the right. And also above the elk, we have an eclipse. And it feels like the eclipse is talking across the table to the sun on the opposite side, and the love that we have, the flame above. And it just reminds me of walking my own path and being strong enough to walk my own path and all of that. Oh, Thompson, you're so welcome. And I just needed today to be me. And sometimes I just need to be reminded that it's okay to hold that torch high. And sometimes I feel like I need to bow my head and truly be humble. But, the transformation that we experience with the eclipse, and the beauty of the energy of the eclipse, and I see the transformation here, is only going to happen if we can hold our torch and feel the sun and the fire and all of that. And so as I was laying these out, I also was questioning myself, well, do the positions need to have a meaning? Do we have a north, south, east, west? The only thing that felt abundantly clear for me was that the animal had to be at the bottom, because there is this rootedness, there's this base and groundedness with animal and animal spirit, and a deep connection to the earth and to mother. So that's why I placed the animal down here. And I knew I didn't want a whole bunch of cards, because there's so much to work with the archetype and to weave it together. So I just thought that these 5 cards were enough. It was just enough. This is my mantra journal. Isn't it pretty? I think it looks like a sari. So I'll just show you. So when I'm learning a mantra, I sometimes I carry this book around with me, and I I don't take it on a rainy day because I keep it, I like to keep it nice, and I feel a sense of energy with it. So this is the mantra that I was chanting today in the woods. Do you want to hear it? I don't know. I'm gonna chant it for you once anyway, just so you can hear me chanting. Om Durga, Durga Tishamani, Durga Padvini Varini, Durga Machidini, Durga Sadini, Durga Nashini, Durga Todharani, Durga Nihantri, Durga Mapaha, Durga Magyana Da, Durga Detya Lokadavana La, Durga Maluka, Durga Matma Swarupini, Durga Magaprada, Durga Mavidya, Durga Mashrita, Durga Magyana Samstana, Durga Madhyana Pasini, Durga Moha, Durga Maga, Durga Marta Swarupini, Durga Masura Samhantri, Durga Mayuda Dharini, Durga Mangi, Durga Mata, Durga Mya, Durga Meshvari, Durga Pima, Durga Pama, Durga Pa, Durga Dharani. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So this mantra is one of the mantras that I do every day, at least 3 times. And it's got a lot of, it's 32 names of Durga. So it's about the empowerment and the strength and of the energy of Durga. So it is a mantra that I have memorized and love to chant. What I wanted to share with you was we were talking about Amber Rose. I will feed you after. Okay? Good girl. Good girl. Self-study. And, there's so many interesting things that tied in here. So this is the Wild Unknown journal. And I'm going to actually doodle on a page here because I want to tie in the cards and the reading with... Would you just bear with me? I'm just going to message my kids to feed the doggy because the doggy is so hungry. Do you want to see? Do you want to see? Here, you can see the people. Here's my hungry doggy. Where are you? There you are. Amber, you're on camera. So I want to actually use one of the pages in here, and then we can, and then we'll carry on. I had a feeling this might happen coming live at this time. All right, so hopefully that will get taken care of. Sorry about that, guys. So the Wild Unknown Journal. I mentioned earlier that Kim is a yogi, and she ties in her experience with yoga in all of her decks and all of her teachings, talks about it beautifully in the interview with Guru Jagat. And even in this journal, I think this is so funny. We'll come back to the journal. There's something I want to do with it. Where is the page I'm looking for? Over here. Oh, Wisdom from the Sage Patanjali on page 15. This is so funny. I love this. So the sage Patanjali is the one who is attributed with writing the Yoga Sutras. And so here she writes down, any practice done consistently over a long period of time with love in your heart produces results. Any practice done consistently over a long period of time with love in your heart produces results. Any practice done consistently over a long period of time with love in your heart produces results. And this is one of the a huge teaching is that we can't give up. We need to show devotion and continue to practice over and over and over. And here she's got practice makes practice. And it is about the practice. Yeah. So this kind of thing really makes my heart beat. So the sage Patanjali This is one of the many commentary books that I have on the Yoga Sutras. This is one by Swami Satyananda, who is my guru's guru. And one of the niyamas, which is one of the important teachings in one of the Yoga Sutras, is called Svadhyaya. And Svadhyaya is a Sanskrit word that loosely translates as self-study. And I just wanted to share this with you because what we're really talking about today in working with shadow and journaling is self-study. The word Svadhyaya needs an explanation. Etymologically, it means one's own analysis or study, but it is used for studying scriptures such as the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible. That is not the meaning of Svadhyaya in this sutra. It is the meaning in Sutra 32. Here it means trying to perceive, this is really interesting. So here it means trying to perceive your own self in different perspectives. When you look at your nose or teeth in the mirror, it is called adhyaya, of your own face. That is detailed study. Likewise, Svadhyaya means the detailed study of your own self, which includes the study of the entire structure of your personality, which includes the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects. In Kriya Yoga, the different practices lead to the perception of self. It is the process of seeing your own consciousness. If you are trying to visualize a psychic smell, you perceive yourself in the form of smell. This is Svadhyaya, wherein you are looking at your own consciousness. The other thing that I wanted to say about this too is that when we're talking about yoga and practicing yoga every day, that the practice of self-study, the practice of Svadhyaya is yoga. So if you are doing self-study, you are doing yoga every single day. So I just wanted to put that out there because it is, like we get caught up on the physical, and the transformation is as important and deeply part of the journey with the, this is a connection with the emotional, right? The emotional, the mental, the spiritual. So never lose sight of that, right? The transformation needs to happen on so many, many different layers. So when I was looking through the table of contents in the journal, I was trying to find a word that I wanted to work with. And usually when I pick up this journal, I have not completed it by any means, is to choose a word that I want to work with. And the word that I wanted to work with was expand, or that wasn't it. And it was an E word. Sorry, this was a while ago when I was thinking about what I was going to say here today. But I couldn't find the word that I wanted. And so I decided that I wanted to work with emanate and to work with these cards and what I was feeling with these cards. And when I was standing in the middle of that circle in the forest, what I was feeling and thinking and how I felt connected to Mother and what that was all about. And how, yeah, sometimes it's just impossible to find words for what I wanted. So in this particular page, what I want to emanate is my energy and my understanding of Devi, of the goddess. And so I want to really embrace that energy and to allow it to grow. And I know that I was almost going to write in Japanese there. So I want to allow Shakti to be here and So what I want to do with this journal page is to not only to emanate, but to be. I want to be Shakti. I want to be in the mood. I want to be in the feeling of the goddess. And so maybe, actually, that's a really good color because we need color for the goddess. So I want to think about all of the energies like Durga and Lakshmi and Saraswati. And, all of different, I want to bring in different pantheons, and I want to make a list of all of the female emanations of Devi that have been a part and an influence of me. And so this emanation of Devi is what's gonna fill up this page. And so I have found this journal, while it is really structured, to be really helpful in integrating. And because this is her work, and I've done this with a few of her other cards as well too, with other readings and spreads, to interpret and to expand the reading into the Wild Unknown journal, because it feels deeply connected through the artist and through her creation. But the whole idea is to simply, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to write a novel. You can draw it and paint it and play with it and be with it. And then I would come back, and I might write or draw a pearl, and all that means to me, and what that pearl, and what it took for that pearl to grow, and how long it took for that pearl to become a pearl. And think about the process of that single piece of sand entering that shell and being rubbed over and over and over, and then layers and layers and layers of things, I think it's called nacre, building up onto that piece of sand, and what that is all about. I might allow my mind to wander and actually draw a snake around the edge, or a nest, or reflect upon the word nest, and then allow that nest to emanate on that page as well too, and build with that. I mean, this particular card looks to me like emanation, as does all of this. And I don't know, I feel like working with all of her gifts have been really beautiful. Like it's an amazing offering. So I guess my point here today is that and I'm going to do a reading for all of you. I'm going to shuffle the cards, and I'm going to do a group reading. Is when something big arises in your reading, to really sit with it, and to be with it, and reflect, and be in reverence of it. This is also a part of my Svadhyaya right now, and this is a 100+ verse mantra to Devi, and this is something that I've wanted to come back to so many times and haven't, and so I'm going to be writing this in my mantra journal and looking at each of the verses one by one. I just wanted to show this to you so you can kind of see. So I don't know if you can see because of the shadow, maybe. I can zoom in a little bit. Where is my camera zoom? Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I don't know if it's going to do it. There we go. Might take a minute to focus. This is verse 34, and here it is written out in Roman letters. And then this book goes through and describes, and explains this verse and all of its possible. There's a long commentary on it and so forth, and how to embrace this. So part of my current Svadhyaya, and I'm not up to verse 34 yet, is to spend weeks or days with each of the verses and allow and to integrate each of them into my life and my day and my practice. And this is a book that I bought years ago, and I had this intention, but now I've decided at this particular Navaratri that it's going to be a part. It's going to be my sadhana for as long as it takes to really embrace the mantra. It's not a mantra. It's a long 100 plus verses. Okay, so let's do a reading for everybody. And this should be interesting because I'm not really, I haven't been reflecting on the whole. I've been very, very self-absorbed the last 48 hours. And so to do a reading for the collective feels like stepping into the unfamiliar right now. So I encourage you just to perhaps get a pen and paper or take a few breaths. Scarlet, I want to send you love and light and hope and prayer. And I think journaling will be a beautiful way to start to move through this. Oops, we have one card upside down here. And Scarlet, I would definitely recommend seeing a counselor as soon as possible to tap into as many different resources, find somebody that you really resonate with, and to, like I was saying earlier, you don't need to do this alone. Ask for support, seek support. Okay, so I'm just going to change the focus here to the collective. So this is a reading for everyone watching now. This is for everyone who happens to find this video in the future and watch the playback. And we're looking here at a reading that will support your self-study, your work with your internal patterns and things that need to shift at this time. We're going to draw one archetype card, one animal card, and 3 tarot cards. So if you have a particular question, bring that question to your mind now. Close your eyes, take your internal gaze to your third eye. Take a couple of deep breaths. And let's allow the spirit of this particular animal to inspire, comfort, challenge, help you to work through this. Help us to work through this. Oh, wow, that's so beautiful. Okay, so let us talk about the energy of the gem. Just a second, I need to finish my shuffling of the animals. Amidst all of the chaos underneath the gem, there are worms. There's a lot like the scribbles and all that we saw in the bones and blossoms and bones. And I'm sure there are blades and knives and rotting things, and there's a lot of chaos underneath the beautiful gem that you see in the center. But what is overarching in this illustration is the gem. And this particular archetype is about finding, and in the training that I'm most familiar with, rather than the word gem, the word gold is used. And so my teachers talked about finding the gold. Find the gold in the chaos. Find the gold in the pain. Find the gold in the relationship that you are struggling with. There must have been a piece of gold when you started this path together. There must have been a piece of gold in the, when you began to, when this all began. So the process of finding the gold may not be where you want to go at this time, right? The process of finding the gold can be quite painful, actually, because we don't always want to find the gem. We don't always want to find the gold when we're feeling like we're in the midst of this, the scribbles, the chaos of all that is underneath that beautiful crystal in the center. But it is essential in order to walk through the darkness, in order to find the rainbow bridge, in order to understand and to move through death, to move through pain. This is part of the healing process. And to have the Phoenix card underneath is extremely powerful. In this particular deck, the Phoenix is associated. I don't know if you can see this here. I've doodled on these cards. So there's 4 petals I've drawn around the outside. So this is connected to the root chakra. And so this tells me that the relationship or whatever it is that is coming to mind for you at this time harkens back to family. It harkens back to your foundation. And so this transformation that the Phoenix represents is it's there, it's possible. It's about the transformation of burning through a pattern that is so deeply and rooted in you. Right? This is what it looks like. So, sorry, my words are not coming easily here. This is a big reading. This is a really big reading, and I think that this reading coming up on this particular day shows that we are all supported by the divine feminine. We are all supported by her energy and her love and her comfort. And she is encouraging us. She is quite literally kicking our ass to find the light so that this transformation can happen. And this transformation is not going to happen if we don't find the little bit of gold, and then we'll be able to move through. So just those 2 cards. Wow. So I want you to see if you can apply this to your own situation. Okay, so I'm going to just shuffle a bit here. I'm going to pull 3 tarot cards. And then, if you've grabbed a piece of paper and a pen, maybe just start doodling and drawing lines or lists of words, or write down a question and then just without thinking, without editing, just scribble down all the possible associations that you have with that. And that mantra that I chanted, it's about, like, Durga is about that strength. Durga rides on a tiger, a freaking tiger. So that's how strong you need to be and how strong you potentially are. 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups, Seven of Swords. Well, this is a very reassuring card, as is the one on the left. And then overhead, you know, this very sad horse hanging its head. When I have a reading with this shape, and I was talking about earlier, well, do you need to assign associations to the positions of the cards? I think naturally they just arise, you know, above, below. And when I see the horse's head hanging there in that 5 of Cups, I just feel the anguish, and I feel the misery, and I feel the pain, and the phoenix underneath that is bursting through the gem. If you allow it to burst through, then, you know, you will be able to raise your head up and lift your head up. There is a lot of light on the top of the card. That horse is a white horse. It's not a black horse. That inner light is, you know, within the creature in that card. And so the horse right now is actually contemplating the gem and contemplating quite bravely how to decide what is the most important. Because sometimes when we do this, there's a few different aspects of gold that do arise. But I think in this exercise, it's important to choose one thing, because we want clarity, and we want to be able to move through this with some feeling of movement and embracing the movement. So I see here the reflection, right? This is a deep contemplation. And so it may take a little bit of time for this phoenix energy to burst through. And this is about giving this due consideration. Eventually you will move on. And this is not a major card. This is a minor card. So this indicates that this could happen quite quickly if you do the work. If you do the work. You know, I want to go back to page 15 in this journal. Any practice done consistently over a long period of time with love in your heart produces results. Any practice done consistently over a long period of time with love in your heart produces results. And so if you consistently make it a practice of finding the gem and embracing the archetype of the gem when things get really dark, then, you know, it becomes a practice and it produces results. And so perhaps taking this archetype with you today and through the next week or couple of weeks as you move through this challenge, knowing that you have the Phoenix of Transformation at your foundation, knowing that this particular transformation is deeply connected to your foundation, and you have the opportunity to burn through that at this time is really beautiful. And having that 10 of Pentacles, just look at the colors. Look how the colors in this card are reflecting the gem over here in the center. It's just so beautiful. And I'm not going to, you know, bring in past, present, future, or anything like that. I think these cards are all talking to each other in a really, really beautiful way. So let me know what else you see here, because it's full of hope. It's full of love. It's full of teaching. It is not a light reading by any means. It's really encouraging you to go the mile. So, oh, Carla says, what is Shakti? So Shakti is a Sanskrit term that refers to the divine feminine. So the goddess in all of her aspects. So Shakti is Durga. Shakti is Lakshmi. Shakti is all of the, not just the Hindu pantheon either, like all of the goddesses. And all that is manifest in the world. So the grass and the trees and the animals are all Shakti, so divine feminine energy. Yeah. Are there any other questions that you have or you would like to address? I'll just let the chat catch up in case there's something else you want to bring forward. And I'll turn the camera and we can have a little chat. I can get my face back on the screen. Back up. So that was a really big reading, and there's a lot to work with there. So I hope that that you are brave enough to navigate that if that resonates with you. Hello. Solarity, paganism. I need to move my laptop closer so I can see the chat. Yeah. So I'm gonna hang out and just wait and see if you do have any questions. Oh, you're so welcome, Tamsin. Yeah, I just felt that, I wanted to share Bones and Blossoms and I didn't know how to share it. And people have asked me many times, like, do you read, do you do, like in my deck combo videos, I've never done a combo with all of the Wild Unknown decks. And of course, they work so beautifully together. And if you can understand the depth of the foundation of the creator, and the creator is a very, it's a real person who has explored her yogic journey, who has, a lot of you know about Kim's history. It can be an inspiration. So I hope that resonated with a lot of you. I have to put my glasses on. I can't see, and my computer's a little far away. Oh, that's awesome, Kyle. So yeah. So thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me on my Sunday afternoon. And I'm going to sign off, but if you have any follow-up that you would like me to clarify, or another aspect of this kind of work, this kind of reading, or how I journal, just put your question in the comments below, and then we can chat later. And I see that somebody was asking for a reading, so I'm not doing readings today, but I'll be back on Tuesday. And if you come at noon Pacific time on Tuesday, I'll be doing some readings then. So yeah, so thank you. Blessings to you on your journey and with your journaling and everything else. Okay, stay well. Namaste.